Episode 8 continues where Episode 7 left off, with David pleading his case in vain while Saul viciously attacks him. David initially concentrates on avoiding and deflecting Saul's blows, claiming he doesn't want to engage in combat, but he is eventually compelled to retaliate with a bit more vigor, disarming Saul. Unfortunately, Eshbal shows there and enters the battle, preventing him from speaking to his former master. David dives over a balcony into the darkness after knocking down a torch to divert attention from two skilled opponents. David returns to his house while hiding in the shadows, where he sees Michal and tells her to pack up. She asks him what occurred, perplexed, and finds it difficult to accept that her father attempted to murder him. David eventually tells her how Samuel anointed him when she demands the truth. Michal is furious that he's concealed this information from her throughout their relationship, but David maintains that he had to do so in order to safeguard his family by disclosing what Saul had done to his neighbor. David begs Michal to run out the window with him using a sheet, claiming that God has chosen him and that Saul will use her against him if she stays. A knock on the door interrupts their talk. Joab tells Michal that he can only buy David some time and that he must go immediately. Michal notices that David has descended the sheet and is waiting for her below when he departs. He begs her to accompany him, but when she doesn't, he has to run away to evade the guards. Michal takes a beautiful statue inside and conceals it beneath their bed linens. When Abner shows there and inquires as to whether David is there, her trick is put to the test. Abner stabs down when Michal says he's beneath the sheet, only to discover the statue. Abner presses Michal to tell him where David fled, claiming that David attempted to assassinate Saul, but Joab interrupts them, disarms him, and tells Michal. A pebble strikes Jonathan and Sarah's chariot as they return to Gibeah for the customary new moon feast. As Jonathan emerges, he spots David lurking nearby and approaches him to strike up a conversation. Jonathan is surprised when David informs him of Saul's attack, but he also understands that David wouldn't betray his family. He intends to return to Gibeah to send a message to Michal and try to resolve the situation, promising to let David know whether or not he succeeds. When a sobbing Michal approaches Saul back in Gibeah, he wonders if her tears are for the man who deceived him. Unsure of what to say, she begs Saul to put an end to the violence. He tells her that Merab has already told him that David threatened to murder her if she spoke up. Michal accepts Merab's falsehood out of fear of upsetting her father. Her father embraces her and assures her that he will protect her. When Jonathan gets there, he gives Michal David a note encouraging her to have courage and strength. Jonathan draws attention to everyone who is absent from the table, and the rumor that Saul is attempting to assassinate David without first consulting him as the family sits down for dinner. Jonathan points out that they attempted to murder David in Episode 6 and maintains that David is not a threat in response to Abner's accusation that David attempted to kill Saul. Saul is furious and accuses Jonathan of betraying him and jeopardizing his own kingship since he is the son of a woman. Saul is so furious that he even grabs his spear and hurls it at Jonathan. Sarah runs away, terrified. Jonathan says he is humiliated to be Saul's son and walks away despite Saul's attempts to apologize. Jonathan and his servant are practicing archery the following day. He overshoots the last shot, as he and David had planned, to indicate that he has failed to convince Saul. He dismisses his servant and finds David waiting as he walks to get the last arrow. Jonathan tells him that Sarah is pregnant and hands him the lyre. He is now certain that David will succeed to the throne, but he is concerned about the implications for his future son, because rulers typically consolidate power by removing competitors. After that, the two swear allegiance to one another and to defend each other's families. David wonders if he would have been a better king as Jonathan blesses his future rule, but Jonathan maintains that God is perfect. As David flees to Ramah, he encounters Samuel, who reassures him that he is not alone and that his unusual sorrow is the price of his extraordinary life. Samuel encourages David to listen for the silent word of God, pointing him in the direction of the priestly city of Nob, while David feels driven to devise a strategy for moving forward. Even knowing the king will want to kill him, Samuel vows to face Saul head-on despite cautioning him against succumbing to fear in the face of this enormous new task. Back in Gibeah, Merab makes an effort to comfort Michal while mocking the insanity of men. Despite being stung by David's deception, Michal is still in love with him. As she watches Eshbal, who is on his way to inform Saul of the king of Edom's approach to strengthen their alliance, she comes to the conclusion that the chair that is thrown poisons everyone who sits on it.